The first major boon I paid as Primogen was to protect a man I did not trust from a charge I could not prove. I've been thinking about the Blood Bank again. The man in white came with us from Chicago. He was Tremere, and unlike me, had spent years among the Anarchs. His reputation arrived before he did. Violence, smugglers, hitmen, the kind of people who knew which doors to open after the polite world goes to sleep. He was standoffish from the beginning, occasionally hostile towards my authority. I never found him trustworthy. When cartel soldiers robbed a Las Vegas blood bank, the court settled on him quickly. His connections made him the obvious suspect. They also made him the perfect man to frame. I believed someone might be using his reputation to end the investigation before it reached the real culprit. I defended him. I paid a major boon to keep the court from condemning him without proof. At the time, I called it restraint. Reading back, I am less certain. I went looking for the first lie I told myself and found my handwriting on every page. By the time the blood bank was robbed, I had learned to distrust any explanation that arrived too cleanly. That suspicion saved me often enough to become a habit. It made me feel careful. It made me feel clever. Clever is a dangerous thing for Tremere to feel. It began at the Tribune Tower. Archon Khalid al-Baghdadi gathered more than 80 kindred in Chicago and sent us west to learn what happened to Prince Benedict's domain. I arrived in Las Vegas as Primogen of Clan Tremere, wearing a title I was still learning how to carry. I call myself the Moth in these pages because Las Vegas was the flame I could not resist. At the time, I believed the city was a mystery that could be solved through patience, intelligence, and the proper application of blood sorcery. Naive, but charming in hindsight. Prince Benedict's estate cured me of that optimism. We found Second Inquisition corpses, damaged correspondence, Dr. Netchurch's research, and reports abandoned before their writers reached any conclusion. The old court had been asking the same questions we were asking now. The butcher's chariot, the crooked man, disappearances beneath the city, and allies who had stopped answering. Benedict's domain had not vanished in a single night. It had come apart while everyone inside it waited for someone else to understand what was happening. That should have frightened us more than it did. Instead, Khalid established a new court among the ruins. Jailbreak became sheriff, Voss became seneschal, Dana Cadence became harpy, Cherry Weiss represented the Nosferatu, Halcyon the Ventru, I spoke for the Tremere, Dr. Brown for the Gangrel, Gerard the Contortionist for the Toreador, and Anton the Mysterious for the Malkavians. Titles were assigned quickly because the Camarilla dislikes an empty chair. None of us truly knew the domain we had agreed to govern. Voss began arranging feeding territory and building systems of obligation. Dana collected boons and reputations. Halcyon watched the court with the patience of someone already considering how he might rule it. I still cannot shake the impression that Halcyon was flirting with me while he extorted that major boon. He was playing a game. The only question I couldn't answer was which one. The Tremere found the Nocturne beneath a Victorian estate on Frenchman Mountain. Our blood opened a hidden passage and revealed an elevator descending 7 levels into an abandoned chantry. The spirit, calling itself the Warden, had guarded the place since the disappearance of its former masters, adding traps as the years passed. We dismantled them room by room. When he questioned Cicatrix before the clan, we answered honestly about her flaws and followed her anyway. He accepted her as regent, and the Nocturne opened to her and became ours. Chicago gave us an assignment. The Nocturne gave us a home, or the nearest thing our clan permits itself. Homes make people protective. Protective people make excuses. Maurice filled the library with notes and diagrams. Iztek brought a faith far older than the Camarilla. Cicatrix gave us direction without pretending certainty. Even our arguments began to feel like the arguments of people who intended to remain together. The rogue became my rock, a friend I could rely on in whatever chaos I created. The seer introduced me to the Bahari during those early nights. She brought me to a garden where Cicatrix, Maurice, and Iztek gathered around living fire. Iztek spoke of Lilith's exile, and each of them entered the flames. I followed. No one welcomed me afterward. The ritual continued as though my arrival required no announcement. In London, I had studied blood cults as infections within kindred society. In Vegas, I began to understand the need they answered. That was one of the first warnings I missed. The city kept producing older and less comforting mysteries. Tremere lived among the people sheltering near the flood tunnels. She spoke to me about the Crooked Man after I brought food and clean clothes to the camp. I found her a motel room, hoping that distance would make her safer. When I returned, the door was sealed with police tape. Spirit's touch showed me Tremere begging, while something hidden behind a mystical silence took her away. She died because she looked into questions I had encouraged her to answer. I wrote that down as grief. But it was also evidence. The Crooked Man remained a rumor with rules no one dared to break, and Cherry Weiss made that investigation more difficult simply by being Cherry Weiss. She corrected me in court, enjoyed every visible mistake, and treated the Tremere as a convenient source of information. Eventually, I ordered the clan to stop sharing anything with the Nosferatu. Her manner toward me improved shortly after. A crude use of power, though it taught me more about being a primogen than any ceremony in Chicago ever could have. Jailbreak later forced Cherry Weiss and me to cooperate over the Butcher's Chariot. A Nosferatu report led us to a ranch near mile marker 318. Behind the house, we uncovered a human skeleton altered through vicissitude and arranged into the shape of a flower. The limbs formed petals around the spine, the property covered 20 acres, and we had no way of knowing how many other victims remained beneath the soil. The Butcher had treated the body as raw material and expected someone to appreciate the result. The black elm outside the Nocturne held a different kind of design. Maurice recognized the maintained runes carved into the bark. Beneath the roots, we found a skeleton positioned to mirror the tree, surrounded by binding stones and marks with the medallion of House Goratrix. A diagram in the library gave the structure a name: the Maelstrom Engine. In the Shadowlands, wraiths hung from its branches and fed whatever purpose the engine had been built to serve. Benedict's estate taught us that the dead had been afraid before us. Tremere taught me that questions could get other people killed. The ranch taught us that cruelty could have an aesthetic. The Black Elm taught us the dead could be made useful. The Blood Bank taught me I could still mistake usefulness for innocence. Maurice and I spent many nights studying the engine together. He told me about France, about the war. I told him about London, the table beneath the chantry, and the Tremere who restrained me while discussing how I might be improved. Those memories still return in dreams, my mouth sewn closed, my eyes held open, 4 men observing while I try to become something useful enough to earn their approval. Maurice believes pain can be offered to Lilith as transformation. Some nights I believe him. The Hall of Mirrors confronted me with another version of that lesson. I shattered a mirror marked Mexico City and took the pieces home. They became part of a ritual that created Silas. He is assembled from my blood, silver wire, obsidian, chalk, broken glass, and whatever else the magic could reach. I claimed I wanted assistance with ritual work. In truth, the chantry is becoming lonely. Silas understood immediately and has been kind enough to never mention it. There were lighter entries too, a motorcycle because speed offers consequences I can measure, a silver Range Rover in the chantry garage, a boutique where dresses are sold alongside access. London taught me that clothing determines how a room receives you. Las Vegas reminded me that I also enjoy those beautiful things. The distinction between armor and pleasure has never been as clear as moralists pretend. Dana understands presentation better than anyone. She protected the Tremere when Voss attempted to restrict us and uncovered old boons tied to Benedict's court through Chicago and Phoenix. I watched her with Iztek and saw a tenderness she rarely permits the court to witness. On her yacht, she described love as a liability. I argued that it was worth the risk. I still believe that. I also understand that loyalty becomes dangerous when judgment is surrendered in its name. That's what the Blood Bank exposed. I wanted the Tremere to survive as a clan, and I allowed that desire to influence how I judged one of its members. The man in white did not become guilty because of his past, though his past gave him a means to act. He may have arranged the heist. He may have been chosen because his history would make the accusation easy to believe. I spent a major boon preserving the difference between those possibilities, and it's not the cost that troubles me. The pattern does. We came to Las Vegas to learn what destroyed Prince Benedict's domain. Since then, we have found a hidden chantry, a terror beneath the tunnels, bodies reshaped into art, an engine feeding on the dead, and a court already learning how useful danger can become. But we also found faith, loyalty, ambition, affection, and enough political debt to keep Dana Cadence entertained for years. Benedict City was filled with people who believed their private arrangements were necessary. Voss had his systems. Jailbreak has her authority. The Crooked Man has his rules. The Warden has his traps. Even I have my explanations for the risks I take and the people I protect. That's what frightens me as I read through these entries tonight. We keep naming the danger before Las Vegas finishes answering us. Benedict's estate, Tremere, the ranch, the Black Elm, the Blood Bank. Each time we named the part we could see and mistook it for the shape of the whole. I closed the journal and opened it again to the front page. We came to Las Vegas to discover how Prince Benedict lost his domain. Somewhere in these entries we may have already written the beginning of the same mistake. I intend to recognize it before someone else is left reading about us.